questions to go through specific questions, right? But then today what I'm going to do is, just because the questions are pretty straightforward, I'll be able to cover all the maths questions. I'll go through everything. And then if you have time, I might go through a quick recap of what you guys did in class this week in terms of the writing section. So about how to create better problems and things like that. I can see that some of you sent us questions. All right. Okay. Yep. So none of it seems important to address right now, but I'll answer your questions at the end directly to you. Okay. Question number 1. Ralph knows that there's 144 centimeters there in 1.44 meters. How many centimeters are there in 2.1 meters? A really easy question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's really no reason to go through it, but it's essentially we know that 100 centimeters is equal to 1 meter. So, and then we were told that 144 is equal to 1.44 meters. So that means 200, the other way around. If 2.1 meters, then that should be 210 centimeters. Do you guys understand? Pretty straightforward.
Yes.
All right. Now, question 2 is also really straightforward. This question, I know that a lot of you might have done the complicated method, but there's no need for you to do the complicated method. It's really, really easy. The complicated method essentially is, you guys probably did this. You found that this whole length is equal to 12. So you said that, okay, this part here is 6 centimeters. So you found the area of a semicircle. So the semicircle, actually, I'll write it down here. The area of a full circle is equal to pi r squared, pi multiplied by r squared. And pi, if you guys remember, is 3.14. And it goes on forever, but you only need to remember the first 3 numbers. But is there anyone here who's learned like a lot of numbers, like more than 50?
It's been a long time.
Do you know how to do it, Sindhu?
No.
Okay. Yeah, so I learned it for a competition back when I was younger. I did it to 100 digits. I think right now I can go up to only a 50 though, but it was just fun. But yeah, so you only need to learn the first 3.14. And when you guys do calculator sections, when you go to high school, there would be a button on your calculator which has pi. But for now, we'll just do 3.14. And then what you guys would have done is, once you found the area of the circle, you divided it by 2. And that way you found the area of this whole part. Then I'm assuming you guys found the area of the square, and then subtracted the semicircle and all, a quarter of a circle and essentially you just, all those sort of steps. But this question is really simple. You don't need any of that. What you should have figured out was that this quarter of a circle is exactly this shape. And what does this whole shape make? It is a square.
Where?
That's right. And the area of a square, sorry, wrong test. Okay. So the area of a square is length times length. Or you could also just say length squared, because they're both the same, right?
Yeah.
So we know that this length here is 6, and that way this one is also 6, and 6 times 6 is equal to 36. And the answer is A. Pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't the question in the term 1 booklet of one of the mock exams?
Okay. Yeah, so if you were here in a previous term, you might have seen these questions because, you were in last year's batch. All right. Next question.
Is it like, can you also do length times width?
You can, but it's the same in square, so it doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
All right, question number 3. There's 168 hours in a week. How many weeks are there in 848 hours? Sorry, 840 hours. Really, really easy. You just have to do 840 divided by 168. Now, this is where you have to do a bit of long division. So again, what I would do is you would just do a bit of guess and check. So I start off with 5 weeks. Let's see what 168 times 5 is. 5 times 8 is 40, carry over the 4. 5 times 6 is 34, carry over the 3. 5 times 1 is 5, carry over the 3, and you have 840. So we're pretty lucky. It's exactly 840, and therefore we know that 5 weeks is equal to 840 hours. Pretty straightforward question so far, right? Not like the ones we before, right? Well, guess what? It's going to get harder. It's going to get harder. That was just a small teaser. Okay, let's start with here. Question number 4. The distance between the leftmost part of the shape to the rightmost part of the shape is 30 centimeters and can be equally divided into each shape. So what that means is that from here all the way to here is 30 centimeters in distance. And then it says that each of the lengths, so this shape here, and this shape here is all 10, 10, 10. Do you guys understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then the question says, find the perimeter of this shape if you include the parts that they touch. So you have to even include these parts where they touch each other. So essentially, all you have to do is find the perimeter of the rectangular shape we have here, find the perimeter of the circle, and then multiply it by 2, because we have 2 circles. Do you guys understand?
Yes.
All right, but now here's the thing. The circle is pretty straightforward to find, but how do we know that this shape, what its height is, or its length or width? So can you guys send it in the chat? Don't shout it out loud. I want to see if you guys can figure it out. How do you find out the height of this shape? Well, multiply by 2, because we have 2 circles.
Oh. Okay. Where's the cat?
So it's just usually at the bottom. Yes, so a bunch of you have said that it is a square, but tell me why it's a square. How do you know it's a square? How do you know this is a square? Okay, so someone also said it's 10 because it's a square, but why is it a square? So one person said because it has 4 sides. Well, a rectangle has 4 sides. That's true. Someone said it has 4 equal sides. Well, that's true. That's what a square is. But how do you know that these sides are equal? It looks equal in the image, but how do you know it's equal? Each square has 4 sides and 4 corners. So does a rectangle. A rectangle has 4 sides and 4 corners. Because it has 90-degree angles. A rectangle has 4 90-degree angles. The text tells you? Well, the text doesn't tell you that it's a square. Anyone have any idea how you can logically tell it's a square?
Can I say it out loud?
You can guess and check the answer by timesing each
The
one
circles are
by
about 10
No, so
centimeters.
it's not the guess and check one.
So
Guys, 1 second.
there's 2 circles.
Sri Aditya and Naveen, guys, remember to put your hands up. So who wanted to say out loud? Could you?
Me.
Okay, Naveen, tell me.
Because the diameter of the circle is 10. So
Good.
from whatever angle it would be 10. So it means that's a square.
Good man. Exactly. Because the length of the circle is always the exact same, no matter which way you measure it. So this line here is the exact same as this line here, same as this line here. So therefore, if we know that this length here is 10, then we know that this height also has to be 10. Do you guys understand? So I just wanted to show you guys that just to help you develop your problem solving skills, because everything we're doing right now is to maximize, your problem solving skills and doing questions under pressure and things like that. So good job. So this is a square. So the perimeter of a square is pretty straightforward. We know the perimeter of a square is length multiplied by 4, because they're all the same size, which is 10 multiplied by 4, which is 40. Now, perimeter of a circle is also called a circumference. I don't know if the spelling is correct. I'm not very good at spelling, but hope you guys get the idea. That's the circumference. So circumference of a circle is pi multiplied by the diameter. All right. So here's the next question. Does anyone, all of you guys have heard of pie, but does anyone know what pie is other than apple pie, pumpkin pie,
Wait,
I-
1.159, 265,
It's
358,
irrational number.
3.40.
Okay, guys, so come on. So send it in the chat. Can anyone tell me how did we find out this number called pi? Any idea? All right. So I'll teach you guys that because it's a very fun, well, a useful exercise. Basically, pi is just a random number. It's not like it's in the universe. Do you know what I mean? It's not like there's a big tablet where it says thou shall learn pi and pi is 3.14 blah 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 blah. Right? The reason why we know pi is that pi is just a word. So it's just a word that describes the relationship within circles, right? So for example, let's just say Asma, right? Asma, what's your dad's name? Asma?
My dad's name's Fawad.
F-A?
B-A-G.
B-A-G? Sorry, oh, Fawaj, like this?
Yeah. No. And a D at the end, not a J.
All right, Fawaj. So between
No,
Fawad...
a D at the end, not a
Oh,
J.
sorry, ma'am.
That's okay.
All right, Fawad. So Fawad and Asma. So these are two different people, but you can have a word to describe this relationship. What's this word called? Daughter or father?
Family.
Daughter or father. That's the relationship between these two, right? Similarly, the word that describes, or actually more specifically, the number that describes the relationship between a circle is called pi. So that's exactly what it is. Pi is just a number that describes a relationship. And do you guys want to know what the relationship is? The relationship is basically how many times the diameter of a circle goes around the whole circle. So I'll make it a bit bigger to see. So it goes around 1 time, then it goes around 2 times, then it goes around 3 times, and then we have a little bit left over. And that is why it is and that is why it is 3.14. Do you guys understand? It goes 1, 2, 3, and this part is 0.141592653, blah 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 blah. Do you guys understand?
Yes.
So it's just a relationship between how yeah. So I'll explain again. So it's basically it's a number that describes how long the distance of a circle will go around the full circle. Do you guys understand? So another thing is you can see the same sort of patterns in your body. Did you guys know that if you have a human, right? So if you take a human and you have legs and hands, did you guys know that usually this length, your wingspan, is the same as your height? Or quite often it's the same. But in circles, in proper circles, it's always this relationship, always 3 and a bit times. And if you guys want to, after class, I would recommend trying this out. So get a piece of string and then measure how long a circle is, and then take that same piece of string and see how many times that string goes around. And you will always find that it's 3 times plus a bit. Do you guys understand? And that's why, because
No.
Sorry, who's saying no? Hello?
Not me.
All right. So because 3.14 is how many times the diameter, this thing here. So the diameter, this thing here, because it's the number of times it goes around the circle, we can just say that the perimeter or the circumference of the circle is just pi, which is the number of times it goes around, multiplied by the diameter. Do you guys understand? So the diameter is 1 centimeter.
Yes.
we know that it goes around 3 times, right?
Yes.
3 plus a bit. We know that it goes around 3 and a bit times. So that way, we know that the circumference or the distance around. Aryan, I'm gonna mute you, okay? All right, thanks, bro. So we know the distance around is basically 3.14. So similarly, let's get back to this question here. To find the perimeter, we know that it's pi multiplied by 10, which is the diameter, and we have 31.4. Now, we have 2 circles. So we need to multiply this by 2, and that's equal to 2
It's
and
approximately.
62.8. Do you guys understand? And then when you add these two numbers together, you add the perimeter of the square and you add the perimeter of the circle, you have 40 plus 62, 62.8, you get 102.8. Do you guys understand?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So someone said, what's a diameter? The diameter is basically the distance between one end of the circle to the other end of the circle. All right. Do you guys understand?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Next question. What is the area of the shape? I'm going to
Yes.
rub all of this out. Is that okay? Actually, I don't need to rub it out. I'm going to write it out here. So how do you find the area of a square? Length multiplied.
times
Where is length? Length.
So it is 10 multiplied by 10, which is 100 centimeter squared. Then the area of a circle, we have pi multiplied by r squared, right?
Yeah.
All right. And then we know that pi is 3.14. We know that the radius was 5, so it's multiplied by 5 squared. And what's 5 squared? 5 multiplied by 5 is 25. And what's 3.14 multiplied by 25? It is 78.5. So that's the area of one circle. But now we have 2 circles, right? We have circle on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side. So 78.5 times 2 is equal to 157 centimeters squared. So the area of the circle is 157. The area of the square is 100. You add them together and you get 257. Do you guys understand?
Yes.
All right. So Gurbaz asked me, what is a radius?
Hello.
All right. 1 second. I'll answer one at a time. So Gurbaz asked me what the radius is. So radius is the distance from the center to any part of the circle. Do you understand? Gurbaz? Gurbaz, are you there? All right. Anyways, who was the person who said they didn't understand? Could you just say your name instead of saying me? Because I wouldn't know who you are if you just say me. So I can help you out. Or you can just, oh, okay, yeah. So you can just send it in the chat. Good girl. So could you send it in the chat as to which section you're confused about? And then also, when you send, by the way, not the girls who send me the question, you guys are good, but one person sent me a question and they're just spamming. So just a reminder, if you're sending the question, please don't spam, because they just send like, I don't know, like 10,000 letters. They just spam the keyboard. All right. So a bunch of you said the whole thing. I find that a bit difficult to believe, because are you telling me you guys don't know how to find the area of a square? You can answer in the chat if you want to. So the person who said you don't understand the whole thing, do you know how to find the area of a square? Yes, no? Yes. Oh, Okay, so some of you said you don't know how to find the area of a square. I'll quickly go through that. So essentially, as I showed here, I've written it out here. Area of a square is length times length. Okay. So you just do length multiplied by length. So we know that the length wise is 10. And because it's a square, it's the exact same distance this way. So it's 10 times 10. All right. And then the area of a circle, it's this formula here. It's pi multiplied by r squared. So squared is when you multiply a number by itself. Okay. A number by itself. So 2 squared is 2 multiplied by 2. 3 squared is 3 multiplied by 3. And in this question, we had 5 squared. So 5 squared is equal to 5 multiplied by 5, which is 25. Do you understand? Guys, a bunch of you keep sending me saying that you don't understand the chat, right? But as I'm explaining, I think it would be more useful if you guys listen instead of typing in the chat, okay?
What does R mean?
So do you guys understand what I've done so far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's why you just follow the formula pi times r squared, and pi, as I've told before, is 3.14 multiplied by 25, which is 5 squared. You get 78.5. Now we have two circles. We have circle 1 and circle 2. So you multiply by 2, and you have 157. And you just add them all up. Pretty straightforward question. Okay, question number 6 is where it starts to get a bit more difficult. All right. So what is the volume of this net if it's constructed into a 2D shape? Now, here's the question. All right. So what 2D shape will you have? Could you, by the way, send it in the chat, not out loud. What 2D shape will you, 3D shape will you have if you have a circle, a square, and another circle? What 2D shape will this be? Guys, I said in the chat, come on. Yeah, we will have a cylinder. Good job. Right. We will have a cylinder. So next question. This is another thing that I want to teach you guys. What type of 3D shape is a cylinder? What type of 3D shape is it? Good. Good, Jace. It's a prism. So, by the way, I'm just going to show this I'm just going to keep this on because some people wanted to write it down. So Jace, you said it's a prism. So Jace, what is a prism?
A prism is something that like I don't know how to explain it.
That's okay. Anyone else want to explain it? Send it in the chat if you
know.
want to. Send it in the chat.
3D shape.
Aaron, go for it. We can't hear you. You're muted because everyone's muted.
So a prism is a 3D shape which has sides at this is one side and this is one side, and in between those sides there is a symmetrical kind of thing going on.
Good man. Good
Multiple
man.
sides.
Yeah, good man. Sharia, go for it, Sharia.
So basically a prism is so like the base shape like a circle, and it can be extended.
Good man. So it's basically a 2D shape that's extended out, right? So a cylinder is a circular prism. Then you have a rectangular prism where it's extended out like this, kind of like your cereal boxes. Then you have a triangular prism, like your Toblerone chocolate. It's one of my favorite chocolates. I don't know if you guys like it as well. So you have all these types of prisms, right? Now, the cool thing about a prism here, this is something you should learn because it would help you. Instead of having to memorize formulas, if you understand this, it will help you in a lot of shapes. The cool thing about a prism is that all you have to do is find the area of the 2D shape. And once you find the area, if you multiply by the height, it simply just gives you the total volume. So if you find the area of this circle here, area, you can multiply by the height and it'll give you the volume. So let's take a look. In this question, in this question, we have the circle up here, and we found the area of the circle, right? Okay, I just want to address this. There's a student I need to send a message to. Give me a second. Hi, please focus on the class instead of sending messages. Otherwise, I am having to explain the same question to you twice. Sorry, guys. It's kind of annoying when, like, people keep spamming you and then I have to like stop. And then the same student asks me to go through the question again, and it's just wasting all of your time. So I felt that I should like talk to the student, just let him know so that we don't waste time. All right. So in this question, we found the area of the circle. What was the area of the circle that we found?
0.400.
Nope. The circle was 78.5. Right. 78.5. Okay. So we know that the circle here is 78.5. And then the height, because it's a square, we know that it is 10. So you just have to multiply it by 10. 78.5 multiplied by 10 is 785.0. But obviously in here it says 0.3 because it's a rounding error. So if you use the calculator, you would have more numbers at the end, but then here you wouldn't. So the answer is 758.3. All right, next question. Melvin is a health fanatic. By the way, I promise you I didn't write this question. Someone else wrote it. I wouldn't write this about myself. Anyways, Melvin is a health fanatic. If he exercises 4 days a week and takes a week-long break every 4th week, how many days does he exercise in a year? So the way you do it is like this. Sorry, I'm just quite disappointed. The same student is just sending messages again and again and again. Boss, please pay attention in class, okay? Otherwise, I'll have to send your parents a letter saying that you're disturbing everyone. Okay. So back to this question. So in the first 3 weeks, can someone tell me how many messages, how many exercises does Melvin do in the first 3 weeks?
12.
12. So in the first, I should rewrite this. First 3 weeks,
12.
We do 12 exercises. Right. In the 4th week, how many does he do? 0. So every 4 weeks, Melvin does 12 workouts. Right, 12 workouts. Now, there is 52 weeks in a year. So 52 divided by 4 is equal to
13. 13.
So if he does 12 workouts every 4 weeks, and there's 13 4 weeks in a year, so you just do 12 multiplied by 13, and what do you get?
156.
That's it.
156.
All right. Question number 8 is really straightforward. So you pour a bowl of milk into, so you have a small bottle of milk. I'll draw the bottle. And then you have a big bowl. And then it only filled up a quarter of the bowl. And this whole bowl could actually take 100 centimeters cubed. So what was the volume of the milk bottle? So essentially it's just 0.25, or actually 1/4, or 25%, all the same thing, of 100, which is 25 centimeters cubed. C. Okay. Catherine says she can sell 176 eclairs in 8 hours. How many can she sell in 1 hour? Well, we divide this by 8. What's 176 divided by 8? Anyone know?
22.
Are you sure?
22.
Teacher.
All right, 22. And then
22.
11, we multiply this side by 11, and then you multiply this side by 11. So what's 22 multiplied by 11?
242.
242.
Pretty straightforward. So eclairs hours. All
You're
right.
going a bit too fast.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll slow down a bit.
Yeah, you're going a bit too fast.
Okay. A cylinder has a height of 10 centimeters and a radius of 1 centimeter. What's the volume? So again, similar to the question we did before, we have a circle at the top and it's got a radius of 1 centimeter. Now remember, the area of a circle is pi multiplied by r squared. And pi was 3.14 and r squared is 1 squared. Now 1 multiplied by 1 is just 1. So the area of the circle is 3.14. And the height is 10 centimeters. So volume is equal to 3.14 multiplied by 10, which is 30.4 centimeters.
31.4.
All right. Tony is an architect and he wants to build a house in a plot of land that is 225 meters squared. He is told that he can only build a house that is 10 times the square root of the area of the plot. All right. So 10 times the square root of the area of the house. So I'll rewrite that. Area. Now, we know that the area is 225. Now, what number multiplied by itself? So someone asked me, what is a square root? So remember earlier I showed you 2 squared is 4. A square root of 4 is the opposite way when you go backwards. So a square root of 4 is 2. And we learned that 3 squared is 9. So a square root of 9 is 3. So essentially square root just means what number multiplied by itself will give you the number inside the square root. So in this question, what number multiplied by itself will give you 225? So let's give it a go. Let's start by 10, guys. So let's start by 10. 10 times 10 is 100. So it has to be bigger than 10. So let's go all the way up to 20. 20 times 20 is, anyone know?
400.
400. So it has to be less than 10 and greater. So sorry, it has to be less than 20 and greater than 10. Right? So then you do trial and error and then you figure out that is 15, as a lot of you guys mentioned correctly. So let's try it out. 15 times 15 is equal to 5 times 5 is 25. 2 goes there. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2 is 7. Add your 0. 1 times 15 is 15. 5 plus 0 is 5. 7 plus 5 is 12. Add the 1 that goes there, and then 1 plus 1 is 2. 225. All right. 1 second. Okay. All right.
You're going too fast.
Okay, I'll try my best to move slow as possible. So I want to make sure that I get all the questions covered, but yes, I understand. I might be going a bit too fast.
Right.
I'm writing everything down, but yeah, just make sure you take all the notes down as well. And then we also have the recording. So, you know, if it is a bit too fast for some people, you can watch that as well. So back to this thing, 10 multiplied by square root of 225 is 15, and 10 times 15 is 150 meters squared. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Could you guys take a screenshot of this? Because I need to go into the next page. If anyone still hasn't written this down, take a screenshot because I will need to go to the next page. So 5, 4, 3.
Wait, can you zoom out the thing?
One time.
All right. I'm moving on. Question number 12. Daphne made a Lego house that has 100 cubes inside. If all the cubes, sorry, I'm just going to quickly mute everyone. If all the cubes had a side length of 3 meters, what is the volume of the bigger box? Okay. So let's find out the volume of this shape. So we have a cube. Oh yeah, we essentially have a cube. Now what's cool about a cube? It's basically the 3D version of a square. All the sides are equal. So the square at the top, remember I told you about prisms? So this is also a prism. Sorry, I'm really bad at drawing, but I hope you guys figure out that this is just a prism. All right. Hopefully that helps. So this top part here, we know that it's a square. And what is each side? It is 3 multiplied by 3, correct? So that means that the area of the top shape is 27 centimeters squared. Now, this is also a cube, so that means the height is also the same length. So to find the volume, you just do 227 multiplied by 3. And what's that? Oh, I'm so silly. My bad. I went too fast in my own head. I should have slowed down in my head. 3 times 3 is 9. My bad. And then what's 9 times 3?
27.
27. Okay. So that means that each cube is equal to 27 centimeters squared. Now we have 100 cubes. So you just multiply 100, multiply the volume of each cube, and that is 2,700 centimeters cubed. That's it.
Hello?
All right. Next question.
Oh.
Question number 13. It takes 7 students 38 minutes to complete a test, 3 students 36 minutes, 1 student 34 minutes, 6 students 32 minutes, and 10 students 30 minutes. What is the probability that 1 student will complete the test in 30 minutes? So essentially, we just know that there's only 10 kids that complete the test in 30 minutes, correct? So let's see how many kids there are in total. 7 plus 3 plus 1, plus 6 plus 10. And what's that equal to? Oh, plus 6.
27.
21.
So there's
27.
there's 27 students. And out of the 27 students, 10 students finish it in 30 minutes. So 10 students finish the test in 30 minutes. So the probability is 10 out of 27. All right. Next question. It is a bit tricky, but you can solve it logically because it's a pretty straightforward question. It's just a bit tricky and you have to break it down into steps. So I want everyone to pay extra close attention. All right. No more texting on the chat. Like, let's just all focus. All right.
Okay.
So we have one circle here and we have a bigger circle like this here. All right. And then what they say is that they both share a middle part. They're both the identical thing here. Oh, oops, wrong thing. They're both identical in the middle. And what they're saying is that half of the small circle is the same as a third of the large circle. Right? And the reason being is they're saying that the overlap region is half of the small circle and a third of the large circle. All right. So now we have like fractions. Let's make it whole. So what it's basically saying is that half of the small circle is the same as a third of the large circle. Okay? So to give you a bit of perspective, let's say that me and let's just say one of your teachers, Achut. So let's just say Melvin weighs 90 kilos, right? Yeah, big boy. He's not a health fanatic. He's been eating too much donuts, right?
Okay.
And Achut only weighs 60 kilos. Now, what that means is that half of Achut is 30 kilos. And that is the same as 1/3 of Melvin, which is 30 kilos. So 30 kilos for Melvin is just 1/3. But for Achut, it's almost a half. Do you guys understand?
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
So in this question, we know that
Yes.
half of the small circle is a third of the large circle. So we multiply this both sides by 3. The reason is it'll give us a nice whole number. Let's see. A third multiplied by 3 is just equal to 1 large circle. So 1 large circle. And then what's a half of 3? Is 1.5 small circle. But that's not nice as well. So let's multiply it by 2 to make it a whole number. So 2 times 1.5 is 3 small circles. And 2 times 1 is 2 large circles. So basically what we found out was that every 2 small circles will give you, the ratio between the 2 of them is that 2 to 3. So the area of 3 small circles will be the same as 2 large circles. Okay?
Yes.
Question number 15. Now 15 and 16 is pretty straightforward. I want to teach you guys a new method, and it's called the LCM method. LCM.
But does
Now,
it help
what
you understand for lowest
Please.
common multiple?
All right. Lowest common
No.
multiple. Now, lowest common multiple. Why do we choose the lowest? Okay, first of all, what is a multiple? Can I get a show of hands or send it in the chat? In the chat, if you want to answer. Shri Aditya?
Do I unmute myself and say it?
Yeah, of course, of course. So what's the multiple?
A multiple is a number that equals to the number.
That's
A
not
number multiplied by itself that equals the number that you are aiming for.
kind of, right? Kind of. So it's basically, let's just say you have 5, right? 5's
Whole
multiple.
lesson on this in school.
All right. So 5's multiples are all the numbers that 5 can turn into, or 5 can, divide by. Sorry, if I can go into. So you have 5. Oh, sorry. That's weird. My pen's not working. One sec. Let me try it again.
A multiple is the answer after
Right.
multiplying of
5,
Factor.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Oops, not 300, 30. These are all multiples of 5. Do you guys understand? So
Yes.
it's numbers that another number can go into.
Yes.
Now, the reason we find lowest common multiple is essentially to find out when you have 2 different things and you want to find out what's the number that they can both essentially fit into. So let's just say you guys are making hot dogs, right? And hot dogs, the sausages come in packs of 6. Pack of 6. And the bread comes in pack of 4. Now, if you're a good event organizer, you wouldn't buy 1 pack of sausages and 1 pack of bread. Because even if you didn't sell out, you would have a lot of sausages and bread left over. You would buy in the lowest common multiple. So the lowest common multiple of 6 and 4 is 12. So you would buy 2 packs of sausages, which will give you 12 sausages. And you'd buy 3 packs of bread, which will give you 12 buns. And that way, you exactly fill however many people want to eat, and you won't have anything left over, one of the two or the other. Now, why do we go for the lowest common multiple? In most questions, it's just efficient. We just want to find out what is the best one that it fits into, because you can go higher, but it's not necessary because it's just too much, because we'll go infinite, right? The lowest common multiple is the most unique one,
Yes.
but there's no such thing as the highest common multiple. There's no highest common multiple because it just goes on to infinity. It just keeps going. And because of that, we have lowest common multiple. So let's find out how it works. So now this question as well, I want you guys to pay really close attention. The way you find it is you put the two numbers together. So one person jumps in every 21 seconds, and the other person jumps in every 30 seconds. So you break down the numbers into factors. So factors are the number that goes into a number. So 21, it is 3 multiplied by 7. So 3 and 7 goes into 21. In 30, it's 3 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 2. Now, why didn't I choose 3 multiplied by 10? Because to do this method, you need to have all of them in prime numbers. So write that down, prime numbers. So now what do? To find the lowest common multiple, we essentially multiply all of these together. But here's the catch. We don't include the ones that have been mentioned twice. So here, we have 3 included twice. So we circle it, 3 and 3, and we only include it once. Then we have 7, we cross that out, and we multiply by 7. We have 5, we cross that out, we multiply by 5. And we have 2, we cross that out, and we multiply by 2. And you get 21 multiplied by 10, which is 210, which is the same as 3 minutes, I believe, and 30 seconds. All right. Same thing for the next question. We have 14, 63, and 18. 14 is 7 and 2. 63 is 9. Sorry, oops, not 9. 9 is broken in further. So we have 3 and 9. I'm going to cross that out. And this goes to 3 and 3. And 18 is 3 and 6, which is the same as 3.
Can you please go a bit slower?
Yeah. Okay, I will. All right. So here's all the fractions that all the factors that we have. So let's start crossing out the ones that are similar. So 3 is common here and here. So we include it once. 3 is common here and here. So we include it once again. Oops. 2 is common here and here. So we include it once. Now we start crossing them out. 7, we cross it out. We put down 7. 3, we cross it out and we put down 3. And that's it. So let's find out. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. And 18, and we have here multiplied by 21. So does anyone have their calculator handy? What's 18 times 21? 378. Now, I made an error somewhere. I think that we included some
18.
times. Sorry?
It's 218.
It was 63. You did 3 instead of 7.
Oh, good spot. Thank you so much. I'm so silly. It's not 9, it's 7. Sorry, it's 9 times 7. Yes, good spot. Thank you so much. Who told me that?
Dia.
Good job, dear. Who's your teacher? I'll tell the teacher to give you a lolly next lesson.
Andy.
All right, I'll tell Andy that. Good job. By the way, there you go. That's proof that even I can make mistakes if you don't do working out properly. 3 and 2. All right, so let's do that again. So what are the common ones that we have? We have 3 and
3 is common.
included once. 3 and 3, we included once. 7 and 7, we included once. 2 and 2, we included once. So we've included all of them once. So what's 3 times 3?
9.
9 times 7?
63.
63 times 2?
32.
126.
And that's why the answer is A.
126.
That's why the answer is A. All right. So that's it for today's lesson, guys. I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.